GPVWC 2020 is go!
Hello and welcome to the 16th and final round of the 2020 Formula Challenge season in GPVWC. As you can see, qualifying is already underway. It'll be interesting to see who can put the perfect lap together around the Interlagos circuit in São Paulo in Brazil. You are with Ewan Gale. No David Carter this week. He's got other commitments, so you're stuck with me, I'm afraid. But yeah, 9 minutes 30 to go in qualifying. Simon Frelick at the moment is at the top of the standings. He's a 10th faster than Tom Stevens. And then Justin Meister in third. Keep a lookout for the Neptune Simracing cars, Marco Furlich and champion Martin Hemmingsen. They've got a special livery for their home race tonight. So, as I'm sure you're aware, there's a 15-minute qualifying session, of which we're almost halfway through. And then we will have 2 races, exactly the same distance. And just straight old-fashioned sprint races. No pit stops, or hopefully no pit stops if you don't get any damage. And just good old-fashioned wheel-to-wheel fighting. Here we are then on board with Wopke Hoekstra, who is currently 5th in the standings. Bit of opposite lock there through Bika to Pato, then into Magulo and down into Yun Sao. Critical part of the track. Traction key for the long run up to the line, up the hill. Let's see what he can do then. He's gone personal best through Sector 1, 19.0. It's pretty much on the fastest time as Simon Frelick goes purple in Sector 1, as I say, that 18.8. Hoekstra was slower in Sector 2 and he goes 9th with a personal best in Sector 3. So top 10 at the moment, as you can see down the left hand side of your screen, is Frelick, Stevens, Meister, Thomas Harvey, who's just ahead of Hoekstra in the standings, Owen McGaugy in 5th, Karl Barczyk 6th, Martin Hemmingsen, as we said already, champion in 7th. Then it's David Koloshai, who's returning for RBA. Patrick Rozak, who was 6th in the standings, is out for this race with a race ban. That's just license points accumulated. So Koloshai comes in. He's already raced a few times this season for RBA. He's 8th at the moment. And Luca Flask, who's been outstanding towards the end of the season, currently in 9th. And Hoekstra, like we said, up into 10th. Already a massive gap, though. 2 tenths now between Frelick, as Frelick goes fastest with a 1:15.717. 2 purple sector times in the first and second sectors, and then a green, which indicates a personal best in Sector 3. So yeah, perfect from Simon Frelick. Simon Frelick, by the way, third in the standings, only behind Hemmingson and Sven de Vries, who hasn't raced for a while in this championship. But yeah, Frelick, who only came in partway through the season, already up to third in the standings, been absolutely fantastic in that RBA. And yeah, top by 2/10 already. Looking further down the grid, Hoekstra's just been pushed down to 11th as Furlich in the second. Neptune goes 9th. Then Terence Grech for Friesland in 12th. Bern Halsall in the GPVWC Academy car is 13th. That's a good lap so far for Halsall. Tom Voss in HTP is 14th. Dylan Platt in the other Academy car 15th. Massimiliano Raboli in the first of the Valley Esports cars is 16th with his teammate Jeff Closer in 17th. Paul August Land 19th as Lucas Lichten improves. And Ryan Elliott rounds out the top 20 so far. There is the Neptune car of Marco Furlich, not its usual blue livery tonight. The green and yellow of Brazil, obviously. We're in Brazil, and Rodrigo Carvalho very excited about that. The team topped the standings after a very, very impressive 2020 season, especially for Martin Henderson. So yeah, so let's see how this develops going into the final 5 minutes of qualifying. I think Thomas Harvey has just started a lap, so let's stick with him for the Gridline Racing team. Thomas Harvey, as we said already, 4th in the standings, very impressive season, surely going to go up the career ladder into 2021. Bit of a locker through Desquita de Largo and running a little bit wide. I don't know whether that will count against him. Personal best through Sector 1 though, 18.9, only a 10th off what Simon Frelick managed to do. Then up through Ferradura, heavy braking for the right-hander. And then this is where it gets really tricky in the middle of the track. It's all about traction. And yeah, you lose so much time if you can't get it. Another lock up there for Harvey through Biga to Pato into Magulo. And then Yun Sao, like we've said already, critical for the long run up the hill towards the line. He's got a car just in front. That might help him with a bit of slipstream. Aid his time. Purple in Sector 2 for Thomas Harvey, 38.2. Absolutely flying. That's what he does as he comes across the line, over the white line as you do. Shortest distance to the line. Thomas Harvey goes second. Fantastic lap from Thomas Harvey. Still 1.5 tenths down off Simon Frelick's time though. Fantastic time from Frelick. And yeah, so all the guys really now that we see out on track will return to the pit lane after their flying lap. They'll have one more chance to go faster. Obviously, you've got to come back to the pits. You can't just do the old escape job back into the pits and rejoin. You will be in a lot of trouble with the disciplinary committee if you rejoin after escaping to the pits. So, got to return to the pit. Here's the Nova cars like his Cole Barchik getting a nice slipstream across the line. And goes 6th, so just ahead of McGaugy. He was 7th, so just the one place for the Nova of Jakub Kalbarczyk. And yeah, most cars back in the pits now are just coming back out. So this is where it really gets interesting. Who else has improved? Hoekstra has done a personal best lap, but has only gone 11th. Darius Andre for Giro Grand Prix, gone 13th, and has returned to the pits. So here we go then. It's the 286 racing Linus Stern, so definitely a bit of slipstream, I'm sure, towards the end of the lap. Luca Flask in front of those two cars. He's like we said, he's had a really good turn of form towards the end of this championship. A few podiums in race 2s, and really proven his worth. And surely that will keep some momentum into next season. Hasn't managed to do a personal best through Sector 1 though. See what he can do through the middle part of the lap. It looks neat and tidy from Luca as he comes through Magulo into Yun Xiao over the timing line. Let's see what he does through Sector 2. Yeah, still slower, so not improving for Luca Flask. I tell you, is just improved though is Dan Hurt, but only to 24th for Friesland. Tom Stevens does his fastest Sector 1, but he's still 2 tenths off. Still 2 tenths off Simon Frelick's time, but obviously he was only 2 tenths off after his first run, so if that's an improvement, he might be able to peg back through the middle and final sector. You'll have a nice slipstream, but how will that dirty air affect him through UNCR? We seem to get through nicely. Slipstream all the way up the hill. Here's the first kink to the left. We get a second kink to the left. You can really hug the white pit entry line to get the shortest distance to the flag. Tom Stevens goes second, fastest through the middle sector, personal best in the final sector to go with his personal best in the first sector, but still 0.135 off Frelic's time. So Frelic looks absolutely unbeatable as he comes back on to the track for a final run. Martin Hemmingson improving, still only a 10th off though in sector 1 from Frelic, 2/10 down on Stevens' fastest middle sector. Let's see what he can do through the final sector. Not good enough to improve. Stays 5th. Car's getting out of the way then of Frelic, who's on an out lap. Yeah, pretty good driving from all the guys, keeping out of the way, making sure that no qualifying laps are being ruined. Riboli up to 12th for Valley's a really good lap, that 1:16.5. Justin Meister on a lap but going slower. He's P4, still P4 in the 86 racing car. So Luca Flask and Justin Meister both doing pretty well to be in the top 12 at the moment. As Tom Voss goes 12th now, so Tom Voss finding some improvement. A lot of people finding improvement towards the end of this qualifying session. 30 seconds to go. Of course, if you start a lap before the clock hits 0, you can finish your lap. That's not a problem. Looked like on the Valley guys, I think it was Riboli, went back to the pits there. So Frelic's going to start his lap. Let's see what Simon Frelic can do. For RBA, can he extend his gap just to cement the pole position? Heavy braking into turn 1, long winding left-hander, slightly wide, and there you go, that's the lap done already. Went too deep, got a big swap on the rear end. It shouldn't matter because he's so fast on his first 2 runs. Kalbarchik's on another lap and has gone personal best in sector 1, only a 10th down on Simon Frelic. This could promote him further up the order. What can Nova do? Another personal best. He's pretty much on par with Stevens and Frelic as well. So this is going to be pretty close. Let's see what Kalbarchik can do as Magalgi goes P6, just above Kalbarchik for the time being. Kalbarchik gets a nice slipstream up the hill from his teammate, and Kalbarchik goes P4. So he lost a bit of time in the final sector. He lost about 2/10 to the front row. And that really cost him. Terence Grech now into P9 for Friesland. That's a fantastic lap. So at the moment, it's Frelic, Stevens, Harvey, Kalbarchik, Meister, Hemmingson, Magalgi, Kaloshai in P8, Grech and Furlich as Andre comes across the line and goes P11. Good lap for Darius Andre. And yeah, Halsall up into 15th. That's not a bad effort in the Academy car either. Wouter de Bruyn P19 for Team Rookie Monsters, improving on his final lap. Hoekstra into P8. So there's a better lap from Vodka to finish off qualifying. And yeah, that should be the grid set. So Simon Frelic and Imperius in qualifying. And he'll start on the front row alongside Tom Stevens, and then Thomas Harvey and Kalbarchik on row 2, geared up then for a very exciting race 1 here in Brazil. Obviously, like I said, 2 races, both exactly the same length of laps. Championship standings, Martin Hemmingson in first. De Vries, as we said, not here. He stopped about halfway through the season, but he had such a good start to the season that he's still second in the standings. Simon Frelic third, as we've said, looking to jump ahead of De Vries, and what a way to start that quest today. Thomas Harvey 4th, Hoekstra 5th, Rozak 6th, but not here. Branton 7th, but not here. Amari Watson 8th. Stephen Lexo not here 9th. And Tom Stevens, who's in 2nd, is currently 10th. So, yeah, there you go. Standings coming up on screen now. And yeah, it's going to be a great race. It's going to be a fantastic race. We will be back in a short while. They're just about to go into warm-up. I'm going to go and grab a drink, and we eagerly anticipate the start of race 1 here at Interlagos. I mean, yeah. Hello, welcome back. Yeah, they've just come to the end of warm-up now, the drivers. Some people do take part, some people don't. Mainly just trying to get back into a race sort of mode, really. They've just been thrashing it around on one lap pace, and now they're trying to find the limits of the car with a bit more fuel on board. So, that's what warm-up does for them. Just a reminder that you can join the GPVWC community. There is a GPVWC Discord that you can join, and if you're interested in driving or become a team owner, such and such, applications I'm pretty sure come out at the end of the month. So yeah, keep an eye and do join the GPVWC Discord community. It's a good laugh. 1 minute left of warm up then before we get into the nitty gritty of the two races, two 18-lap races. See the drivers are on the hardest tyre through warm up, so that might be an indicator of what they're going to do. It's a bit of a tyre killer into Lagos. Plenty of medium speed, sweeping corners, high speed corners, plenty of heavy braking zones and high traction zones. So it's going to be one for the people who can look after their tyres and absolutely extract the maximum out of their setups. I think there's just the one grid penalty to be applied to qualifying. Darius Andre, who managed to pop up into the top 15. I think he's got a 10th-place grid penalty. So his hard work will be undone, and he'll start at the back, or close to the back, for race one. But all is not lost, of course. Plenty can happen. And, 2 races, points across the 2 races. You just got to keep yourself in the game, as August Long goes for a spin at the end of warm-up. That won't do him any damage at all. Keep yourself in the game for race 2. All is not lost if race 1 is a problem. So warm-up comes to a close then, and then all of the drivers will have their last little briefing from race control. They'll go through into the race server. They will form up on the grid, and then they will do a formation lap, and the rest you know. So, be interesting to see what can Simon Frelick do from the front row alongside Tom Stevens. Tom Stevens trying to push his way up in the championship. I think he's got enough points on offer to clinch 8th in the championship today. He's currently 10th. Frelick obviously can get ahead of Sven de Vries for 2nd, and Thomas Harvey's right in there as well, only 20 points behind Frelick, so plenty of battles to be had. Hoekstra as well, 211 points, 20 behind Harvey himself. So as we said, warm-up's just coming to a close. The drivers will have their last little pep talk. Obviously, a lot of them have their own engineers talking through the race. And we'll get the ball rolling around Interlagos. We've seen plenty of chaos in Turn 1 this season in Formula Challenge. We've had a fair share of fantastic racing as well. It's been a fantastic season, I'm sure you'll agree, and it's almost a shame that it's coming to an end. 2 last races tonight, and that will bring the GPVWC Formula Challenge to a close for 2020. Martin Hemmingsen, obviously, let's see what he can do at the team's home race, if he can finish with a bang from 5th on the grid. We know he's not shy of sending his car up the inside into heavy braking zones, and I'm sure tonight will be absolutely no different, especially when he's got no pressure on after wrapping the title up early. Obviously, Simon Frelick will look to get a victory from pole. He's been fantastic, as we've said, and Tom Stevens as well with fantastic qualifying up in 2nd. The 286s as well, probably the best qualifying they've had all season. And instead of trying to sweep up some points in race 2, they're really looking good for a good haul in race 1 as well. And of course, we've got a reverse grid for race 2 as well, so all of that will be sorted out later. Drivers about to head out then on their formation lap. Let's run you through the grid. Simon Frelick, after a fantastic qualifying lap, lines up on pole. He's about 2 tenths ahead of Tom Stevens for Thunderdog in 2nd. Thomas Harvey 3rd, obviously trying to get into the top 3 in the standings for Team Gridline. Justin Meister, the first of the 86E racing cars, in 4th. Martin Hemmingsen in the new livery for Neptune in 5th. McGaugy in the second of the Thunderdogs with a 6th in qualifying. Good result for both those cars. Volker Hoekstra in 7th, ahead of David Koloshai standing in for Patrick Rozak at RBA. Terence Grech with a fantastic lap for Friesen Racing Team. That will put a smile on the face of a difficult campaign at the end there. Marco Furlich in the second Neptune in 10th. Luca Flask in second, 8.6 Racing in 11th. With Tom Voss in HGB in 12th. Jakub Kolbarczyk in 13th for Nova Sim Racing, ahead of Doran Halsall in the GPVWC Academy car. Fantastic qualifying for him. Massimiliano Riboli in the first of the Valley Esports cars. Look out for him at the start. Dylan Platt for the Academy as well, doing brilliantly in 16th. Lucas Lichten for Madness. That's probably his best qualifying for a while, ahead of Wouter de Bruyn. He can cause some fireworks on the first lap. Watch out for him in the Team Rookie Monsters car. Jeff Closer for Valley in 19th, and Paul August Lahn rounding out the top 20. Darius Andre with his grid penalty drops from 11th down to 21st for Gio, and then Ryan Elliott in the Santon standing in for Watson in 22nd. Joseph Fagg as well, late minute call off for Nova Sim Racing in 23rd. Mike Bell all aboard the Bell train for Danfoss Electric in 24th, and Justin van der Smissen in 25th. Not the best qualifying for him. Caitlin Penny has joined the server late. She's in the second Danfoss Electric's car in 26th, and Dan Hutt in 27th in the second of the Friesland Racing Team car. But they're lining up on the grid then. Let's see what they can do. Frelick and Stevens on the front row. Let's see. Let's have a clean one to end the year. And yeah, fingers crossed they get through the first few corners and we can have a good 18-lap race to close the season out. The back of the field then just coming up to complete the grid. As soon as they are stationary, the 5 lights will go on. Make sure you're concentrating. You don't want to jump the start. GPVWC Formula Challenge is go for the final time in race 1 this season. It's a good start for Simon Frelick, who goes over to cover the inside line into the first corner. Stevens having a look around the outside, has to cover off the fantastic start from Harvey, and Hemmingson up into 4th already. Great start for him. Side by side now. And yes, he's through. He's up into 5th. McGaugy 6th, Hoekstra 7th, Grech up into 8th past Koloshai already, and Kalbarczyk into 10th. All clean so far. No, it's not. I think that's Kalbarczyk gone, and Furlich out as well. They've gone way wide. Collision into Desquita de Largo. Drops them both out at the top 15. Look at some of the people who have made a great start. Look at Darius Andre up into 14th already from 21st. Fantastic start for the Geo Grand Prix car. But they're all filing through now as one of the Academy cars goes up the inside of a valley. And that was Platt, I think. And I think he managed to get the move done. Good, clean, apart from one incident, it's good and clean. I think De Bruyn's lost the front wing. I don't know whether that was connected to the problem. Ryan Elliott as well looks as if he's pulling over. But Frelick leads then as they come up to the end of that one. Frelick ahead of Stevens, Harvey, Meister, Hemmingson, McGaugy, Hoekstra, Grech, Koloshai and Flask. Few great starts, so Halsall 12th, Lichten 13th, Andre 14th, Riboli 15th. Big gap already for Frelick then, 9/10 of a second ahead of Tom Stevens, and Harvey's not letting Stevens get away. Harvey knows that he's still got a chance of getting ahead of Frelick in the championship, but he has to get ahead of him, and at the moment Frelick is driving away from these two. Stevens already going a bit defensive down into turn 4, Desquita de Largo. Obviously no DRS until lap 3 as Frelick goes a little bit wide, dips the wheel in the grass through turn 4, now up to the top of the hill. But this is where all the dirty air, and look how much road they're confidently using. Bit of the grass on the way in, and look how wide Stevens has gone. That won't be too happy in DC, I'm sure, for that. But yeah, good clean start up front then. Frelick now over a second ahead of Stevens. Looking down the field, pretty even gaps throughout, actually not a lot happening through, but they'll settle in. There's plenty of time to go. Obviously lap 2 of 18 as they come round the final corner, if you like, at Yunxiao. And yeah, a bit of a train. I'm sure we'll get a bit more aggressive towards the end of the race. Frelick still leads. Interesting to see then. It looks like Close has dropped out of the top 20 as Koloshai goes side by side with Terence Grech. So he's trying to regain the position that he lost at the start. It was a great start for Grech. And Koloshai looked to the outside. Good defence from Grech as well. And now that's put Koloshai into the clutches of Luca Flask. Is Luca Flask going to have a look? Grech goes to the inside into turn 4. Koloshai can't do anything about it. And Flask was very late on the brakes. Close up Constantinas. This is going to be close now up into turn 5. Yeah, look at this. They're going to be side by side. Grech still defending down the inside, and it's just costing these guys time as well as Flask now all over the back of Koloshai, and they're already dropping now 2 seconds off Hoekstra, who's a place ahead in 7th. Grech keeps hold of 8th. There we go, then into Pico de Pato. Through Magula. This is critical. You've got to be able to follow through the twisty bits. You've got to be able to follow the car in front. Get on the brakes nice and late into Yunsao, get good traction, and then you've got a real chance down into the first corner. Long drag up the hill, and obviously Grech losing Hoekstra already will not have the benefit of a massive slipstream. This is why you can see Koloshai getting closer and closer and closer, but not close enough at the moment. Not close enough to have a look into the first corner. He did have a look, but he was too far back and did well really not to make any contact. So Grech holds on to 8th. Back up front, Frelick 1.3 seconds ahead of Tom Stevens already, but Stevens has managed to put a bit of a gap to Harvey. There's already 6 tenths as Koloshai goes the outside into turn 4. Nothing happening there. Terence Grech holds on to 8th yet again. Plenty of dust being kicked up as they use all of the track into the right hander. Still Frelick ahead of Stevens. Magaugi and Hoekstra are very close to each other, stuck in behind Martin Hemmingsen. 2nd to 7th really, all separated by a pretty similar gap, a bit of a train going on there. Then you've got the gap to Grech and Koloshai and Flask. Another second or so towards Tom Voss, who's 11th, who's got Lichten right up behind him, and Halsall and Platt all following each other, and Andre then about a second behind Platt. That's the top 15. That's the point scoring positions, remember, come the end of the race. Mike Bell's had a good start from down in the 20-somethings to get up into 16th and right on the back of points. That could be crucial. Obviously, plenty of time left as we're already on to lap 5. Van der Smissen as well up from the back, and Kovacic and Furlich have managed to fight their way back into 18th and 20th after their skirmish on lap 1. Gap between Frelick and Stevens came down by 2 tenths on that lap. A good lap from Stevens. This only back to 1.0 seconds now, and really Stevens needs to close gradually and give himself a chance. There's no point doing anything major and binning it. Here's August Land going to go side by side with Furlich around the outside, and Furlich trying to make it stick, goes way wide, and that's going to give I think that's Fag. Yeah, Fag's going to come round the outside of Furlich then. And Furlich is still looking down the inside of August Land. That's brave. No move done. And then Furlich late on the brakes into the right-hander. Going to go all the way around the outside through the long left-hander. Fantastic racing from these guys. Nice and clean as well. And he's going to have the inside to Pico de Pato as August Land looks to chop the second over as well. So great racing, great clean racing. That's what we're here for. Fantastic from the second Neptune car, trying to make up for the mistake at the start of the race. Back up front, Stevens within a second now. Stevens within a second of Frelick, and Harvey's got Justin Meister all over the back of him. So Justin Meister's showing great pace in the 86, and actually Martin Hemmingsen isn't able to stick onto the back at the moment. Within a second, but not close to Justin Meister. So Hemmingsen not making the progress that we thought he might during into Lagos. Still 5th. Magaugi only half a second behind in 6th, and Hoekstra behind Magaugi. They've now got about 3 seconds to Grech, who still managed to keep Koloshai behind, and Flask. That's your top 10. And Meister looking to lose a little bit of time through the faster corners there, but under the slow corners, getting on the power, he seems to close up, and Harvey actually coming a little bit closer. They're all starting to squeeze up together now in the top 5. Stevens still within a second of Frelick, and they've actually done pretty identical times so far through sector 1 and through sector 2. Stevens was faster, so that gap's still coming down little by little. So positions 1 to 7 all close, then Frelick, Stevens, Harvey, Meister, Hemmingson, Nagalgi, Hoekstra. They're all within 5 seconds of each other. Then a small gap to Grep, Kaloshai, Flask. And Tom Voss is starting to close up to that group of 3 as Grek defends. Lichten about a second behind Voss. Halsall down to 13th then, just ahead of his academy teammate Dylan Platt, and Darius Andre down to 15th. So Platt moved up to 14th and Voss has moved up to 11th, and some good moves going on in midfield. Here we go. Platt is now back under attack from Darius Andre. A bit of contact, a bit of wheel banging. Both the academy cars go wide and Andre makes his way through. They were perfectly alongside. I'm not really sure there was anything wrong with that. A bit of racing rubbing, and good move from Darius Andre in the Geo, making up for his grid penalty already up to 14th, and with Halsall in front of him. Look at Mike Bell almost being attacked from behind by Van der Schmissen. As Bell, these guys really 3 seconds off the pace of the top 15. They're hoping for someone to drop out within the next 12 laps. Lap 7 then, just about to start lap 8 even of this frantic first race here at Interlagos. Stevens getting ever closer to Frelick, and now starting no doubt to get the effects of a slipstream, faster again by a tenth. It's only a tenth, but only a tenth is good enough when you're 6/10ths down and you still got 11 laps to go. So Frelick still leading, got a bit of a buffer for the moment, but will be coming under attack in the near future. Frelick from Stevens. Van der Schmissen's right up behind Mike Bell once more, looking for that 16th. Like we said, that if you can get points if people drop out in front of you. So that 16th can be crucial, especially in Formula Challenge. We've seen it all season long. Kalbarczyk right on the pace with Bell and Van der Schmissen as well. And it looks like August Land's got back past Marco Furlich. So Marco Furlich has dropped back down into P20 and unable to make any more moves at the moment. Simon Frelick managed to extend the gap, but only by about half a tenth of a second. And then actually he's about a tenth faster in the middle sector as well. So Frelick on a better lap. Stevens maybe starting to push a little bit too hard now that the carrot is dangling in front of him. Simon Frelick leads over the line to start lap 9. And the gap has gone out to 0.8 of a second. So good lap for Frelick. That's more of what he needs in the RBA. Obviously, a win here would put him ahead of Sven de Vries for second in the championship and almost guarantee him a top 3 come the end of the day. Obviously, Thomas Harvey can still get on the top 3 as well, only 20 points behind, and he's currently in 3rd and actually fended off Meister for the time being. Meister now dropped back a little bit as Frelick locks up and goes a little bit wide through turn 4. Everyone's sort of settled into their own pace by the looks of it. They're still using plenty of road. They're pushing so hard, and they're allowed to do it. But I would imagine that they would have taken it a bit easier, knowing the track surface, the track conditions, what they can do to your tyres are really impressive to see how much they're attacking. No wonder they're going at such a good pace. It's still in the 117s, low 117s on lap 9 of the race, and they're only in the 115s in qualifying. So really good effort from these guys. As Fag now in the second over is up to 20th. That's what's happened. Who's dropped out? Someone's dropped out of the top 15 because Voss, Halsall. Yeah, it's Lucas Lichten. Lucas Lichten in the madness has dropped out. It's such a shame because he was doing a brilliant job in 12th. So now that promotes Halsall to 12th, Andre up a place to 13th, Platt's 14th, and as we were saying, 16th can be crucial if someone drops out. Mike Bell now into P15 and with 1.5 seconds on Kalbarczyk as well, who's gotten past Van der Schmissen, but Kalbarczyk surely will be on the back of Bell. It looks like it was Lichten pitting. Looks like Lichten was pitting, so he might have had a problem somewhere and might have needed some damage repaired. Stevens back up then to about half a second behind, and here goes Hoekstra side by side with Lichten, who's just come out of the pit lane. So that was a bit more difficult than it needed to be as Lichten sort of pulled to one side. And Hoekstra lost a little bit of time. It shouldn't damage him too much, but they're all in a bit of a train. Here we go then, Halsall and Andre. Andre still trying to move up from his 10th place grid penalty, and he's really got the bit between his teeth. He's already dispatched one Academy car into turn 4. He's right behind Doan Halsall as they come to the final part of the lap. They're going to go into Yunsao then, late on the brakes, and he just needs to get good drive or get a slipstream, utilise the slipstream up into turn 1. If he can't get up at turn 1, he can get through into turn 4 as well, as we've already seen him do. So this would be crucial, and obviously you want to get as far up as you can ready for the reverse grid. So crucial points being had for Gio. Obviously Gio only came halfway through this season. This Tom Stevens, by the way, is the fastest final sector of the race to go, only 2 tenths behind Frelick up front. Stevens is really flying as Andre uses all of the road through the first few corners, not close enough to make a move on this lap. A really good final sector from Halsall to stretch the gap, because Andre looked as if he was going to make a move as he understeers wide in the jib. Stevens right up behind Frelick, and still faster through sector 1 as well. Koloshai through on Grek. Finally Koloshai through on Grek. But look at this is the battle we want to see. Is for P1 and P2 on the road is Simon Frelick, the pole sitter, who raced out to about a 1.5 second lead, and Tom Stevens has managed to pull the gap in tremendously. Bit wide through Yunsao, but he'll still have plenty of drive, plenty of slipstream, and it'll be close into turn 1. He won't get it done on this lap, but he'll certainly start putting Frelick under pressure. Harvey's following as well. Harvey's only within a second, so Harvey within a second of the lead, not even within a second of Stevens, within a second of the lead. So top 3 separated by not a lot, and the top 5 separated by 2 seconds. Fantastic racing. Halsall still in front of Andre, and actually Andre's dropped off the back a little bit, but they're dropping Dylan Platt. So Dylan Platt looks safe in 14th at the moment. Bella's got Kalbarczyk all over the back of him. Kalbarczyk trying to make up for being taken out into turn 4. It looked like he had contact with Furlich earlier. Furlich went wide as well. He's down in 19th, but Kalbarczyk's managed to get up into 16th, right behind Mike Bell in the downforce electric car. But look at the top 5. They're all, you can throw a blanket over them. Absolutely fantastic. They're all so close together. And now really it's going to see who makes the first mistake, who blinks first, as Frelick leads them round Yunsao, and then up the hill, blast up the hill. Stevens in the slipstream, and Harvey will get that as well, and so too will Meister, and so too will Hemmingson. But Galgi is a bit too far back to join the party, and McGalgy's got Hoekstra right behind him as well, and they're in a little bit of a world of their own, as Hoekstra is actually quite close to Owen McGalgy. So they come over the line, and Hoekstra goes to the inside for turn 1. Fantastic move, textbook stuff from the Dutchman in the HGB Motorsports car. Obviously he's in 5th, and he's still got 4th or 3rd on his mind for the championship, and he needs to get after the group ahead, because Thomas Harvey is the person in front of him. Here comes McGalgy trying to look back. Hoekstra looks defensively, and that's going to cost him time as he locks up slightly on the way in. Gets good drive though. But yeah, compromised his own line. That's going to give McGalgy a bit more pace up into turn 6. But Hoekstra holds on for HGB 6th place. Now can he go and close up to the group up front? We're on lap 13 of 18 in race 1 here in GPVWC Formula Challenge. Frelick leads from Stevens, Harvey, Meister, Hemmingson, Hoekstra, McGalgy, Grek, who's gotten back past Koloshai, and Luca Flask, who runs out the top 10. So 2 top 10 places at the moment for 8-6 Racing. Fantastic stuff for them. Frelick still got enough of a gap to keep Stevens behind as they go down into turn 1, but look how close they're starting to get behind Harvey, Meister, all within sort of 2-3 tenths of each other. Meister might have a look actually on Harvey as they close up into turn 1. Harvey ducks to go defensive, feints, come back to the racing line. Look how close they are. It's absolutely fantastic. And this is what it's been like all season long in the Formula Challenge. This is why we love it so much. There you go, DRS open and down into turn 4, and look, they're still battling behind as well. Hoekstra and McGalgy. Hoekstra all over the track trying to break the toe. McGalgy still can't get it done, but we've seen that McGalgy's better through turn 4 and 2.5. As I say that, he goes wide and loses a little bit of traction. That'll give Hoekstra some breathing room. Let's see if Hoekstra now can lead these two up to the top 5, or whether it's all about these two battling for position with the slipstream. Greg still got Kolosai behind, so Kolosai will be hugely frustrated. You know, he's got a bit of pace in that RBA, but Kolosai couldn't get past Greg. He then did get past Greg after about 8 or 9 laps, but Greg's managed to find his way back past, and that's the problem. As soon as you get ahead and you haven't got anyone else to follow, you're sitting duck in the straight line. Unless you see Frelick, of course, who seems to have plenty of speed. He's managed to hold Stevens off. This is as close as Stevens has been for a few laps now, as we come to start lap 15 of 18. Frelick still got plenty of gap there at the moment. Just looking down the order, Voss still 11th, Hulsall still 12th. Andre hasn't been able to get back through, and actually he's dropped a little bit of time. Darius Andre not able to follow down Hulsall at the moment. Dylan Platt 14th. Jakub Kowarczyk has made the move for 15th. That will be points for Nova. And Mike Bell 16th at the moment. Joseph Fag actually in the second Nova has managed to get past Marco Furlich. So good result for Nova at the moment, considering where they started, and obviously we had the incident for Kowarczyk as well on the first lap. And yeah, fantastic racing. Van der Schmissen 19th and closer after initially dropping out the top 20 is back into 20th. So here's the accordion effect then. You think they're getting closer through the middle of the lap, through the braking zones, and then actually they get to the final part of the lap and they all string out as they all put the loud pedal down to fan out. But actually it looks more like Harvey's closer to Stevens, and Stevens is closer to Frelick, as Frelick gets a bit deep on the brakes, uses as much road as he possibly can and blasts out of Yin Xiao. To start lap 16, we got 3 laps left. Then in race 1, it's been quite frantic. It's been very close. There hasn't been a lot of overtaking, but everyone is on such a high pace and a high level. It's still in 117.3s, 117.4s. They've only lost about 4/10 from the start of the race. It's amazing consistency from every single driver on the grid. They hardly had any contact wheel to wheel either, which is fantastic to see. Frelick still leading, then Stevens still following. Not a lot that they can do at the moment as Harvey goes wide trying to force the issue. Harvey still third. It's good enough for him at the moment, and he can look to make something happen in race 2 as Dylan Platt makes a move on Darius Andre. Dylan Platt just did the fastest final sector of the race, would you believe? Fantastic pace in the GPVWC Academy car, and he's made his move past Darius Andre for 13th. Kowarczyk as well starting to close in a little bit on Andre. He's still got 4 seconds. He's not going to be able to catch, I don't think, but Andre's lost a little bit of pace. I don't know what's happened. I don't know whether he's just lost a bit some of the tyres. Obviously you've got to be careful on your tyres, and you'll see some people are better at that than others. I wonder whether that's Andre just starting. Obviously he's had to push his way through the field to recover from a 10th place grid penalty. I wonder just whether he's pushed slightly too hard or whether it's something else contributing to that loss of pace, because he did look as if he was going to get after Tom Voss for 11th at one point. He was side by side with Hulsall in the GPVWC Academy car. 2 laps to go then in race 1. Frelick still leading, and actually he's got a bit of a gap now to Stevens. It's as big a gap as we've seen down into turn 4 for a few laps. And then Stevens is actually probably looking in his mirrors a bit, because Harvey is right behind him. Harvey's got a bit of speed at the moment. Meister's still 4th, Hemmingson still 5th. Hemmingson hasn't made as much progress as we used to him. Seeing as Stevens goes a little bit wide on entry, that won't cost him too much, if anything. Actually, he was a bit neater on exit, but Frelick looks as if he's got this under control at the moment. Stevens really driving a little bit more defensive with Harvey behind, and that's stopping anything. These guys have managed to actually pull away a little bit from Bobka Hoekstra, so Hoekstra hasn't been able to close in at all since getting past him. Magalgi, still a 3.6 second gap between Hoekstra in 6th and Hemmingson in 5th. Magalgi still 7th. Grech still ahead of Kolosai, so fantastic from Terence Grech for 8th place at the moment. And Luca Flask really got stuck in that battle earlier on and hasn't managed to get any momentum going forward, but he's still in the top 10. Good for Luca Flask. Thomas Harvey, as we enter the final lap, still looking at Stevens, and Frelick went slightly wide. That might give Stevens a bit of an eye-opener. He might put Frelick under a bit of pressure. Can Stevens make a run down into turn 4? Frelick knows that he's made a mistake. Look how defensive he's gone already. Stevens with the run, then he's going to have to look to the outside. Frelick defends. Great defence from Simon Frelick after a small mistake through the first chicane. So Frelick holds on then through the first part of the final lap, and then Stevens still second. Harvey still third, but still looks as if he could have a go. Frelick again wide. Is Frelick starting to struggle with tyres, I wonder? Frelick, Stevens and Harvey all pushing so hard. This is as close as they've been, and it's the final lap of the race, for goodness sake. Hemmingson as well, all over the back of Justin Meister at the moment. Look, Harvey's physically pushing Tom Stevens around Pico de Pato now through Magulu. It's all going to be on traction out of Yunsel for the final time. Frelick pushing as hard as he possibly can. He's got enough of a gap, you feel, up the hill to hold on for the win, and they all look as if they're pretty spaced out now. So it's going to be Simon Frelick then who takes race 1 of the final round of GPVWC Formula Challenge 2020. Simon Frelick takes the win ahead of Tom Stevens, Thomas Harvey 3rd, Justin Meister 4th, Martin Hemson 5th, and then a long way back to Hoekstra 6th, McGaugy 7th. Terence Greck's just going to hold on ahead of David Kaloshai. Fantastic race from Greck. Then Luca Flask for 86 Racing in 10th, Tom Voss in 11th. Don Halsall, fantastic race for him, 12th. Andre 13th, Kalbashik 14th, so something must have happened to Platt on the final lap for him to drop down to 15th. And then just missing out on points is Mike Bell, Joseph Fagg, Marco Furlich, who had his off at the start of the race, Jeff Closer, Justin van der Smissen, Dan Hoot comes across the line in 21st, Paul August Lahn, Caitlin Penny, managed to stay out of trouble in 23rd. Wouter de Bruyne, we saw at the start of the race without a front wing, 24th. And the last of the finishers, Lucas Lichten, in 25th. We saw him in the pits after initially running in the top 12. So disappointing for Lucas, but all in all, really exciting race. Really close and some fantastic consistency throughout the field. We're going to take a short break before coming back for race 2. Welcome back 2 Formula Challenge just had a highly exciting first race where the top 5 were split by about 2 seconds, and we've just had the reverse grid draw. So number 14 was drawn. That means that Jakub Kalbarczyk, who finished 14th in race 1, will go into pole position. So good fight back from his issue at turn 1, and it's turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise for the Nova man. So Kalbarczyk up into pole position. We will go through the grid obviously as they go under formation up, so you know exactly where everyone is. But crucially, it means that Frelick and Stevens and Harvey and Hemmingson and all of the quick guys are way down in the midfield, so we're going to have an exciting conclusion to the season. We're just finishing warm-up, and not a lot of people out on track for the final warm-up between the races. Only 7 people set at a time. And yeah, this is just like we said before. It's all about getting used to the race setup and the race package with the higher fuel. So no surprise really that after having done a race, we're not seeing anyone, not seeing too many people out there. So here we go. Then full grid is Kalbarczyk, Andre, Halsall, Voss, and Flask in the top 5, courtesy of the reverse grid. And you've got to feel sorry for Dylan Platt, who had an issue on the final lap to drop down to 15th and missed out. He was the only person in the top 15 who were eligible to be reversed to not swap his position. So terrible luck for Platt in the GPVWC Academy car. Just waiting for all the cars to join the grid ahead of race 2 then. Just doing their final checks, doing final preparations, final little pep talks before the final race of the season. And what a season it's been as well. Let's see how brave people go knowing it's the final race of the season. Of course, Frelick passed De Vries with the win in race 1, and Harvey breathing down the neck of De Vries as well. But we'll need a top 2 finish, I believe, to get ahead of De Vries in the standings for the top 3. So all to play for. Harvey's got a better chance of getting to the top 3 than Frelick has from 12th. We saw how difficult overtaking was in race 1, however close the field was. But here we go, then we'll go through the grid. Jakub Kalbarczyk for Nova on pole ahead of Darius Andre, Doan Halsall 3rd, Tom Voss 4th, Luca Flask 5th. That's all because of the reverse grid. David Koloshai in 6th, couldn't get past Terence Grep, who lines up behind him. Then Owen McGaugy in 8th. He got overtaken by Vodka Hoekstra about halfway through race 1. That means that Hoekstra lines up ahead of Martin Hemmingson. What a battle that will be. 2 utterly superb drivers in Formula Challenge. And Justin Meister, who had a fantastic race 1 in 11th. Thomas Harvey, who was 3rd, he now goes to P12. Tom Stevens, who pushed Frelick all the way, is in 13th with Frelick in 14th. And as we said, Dylan Platt, so unlucky to not be reversed. He'll start 15th. Then all aboard Beltrain in 16th. Joseph Fax 17th. Great race from him. Then Marco Furlich in 18th in the second of the Neptunes after his issue at the start of race 1. Jeff Closer 19th and Justin van der Smissen 20th. Van Hut 21st. Paul Augustland 22nd. Caleb Penny 23rd after keeping out of trouble in race 1. Valter De Bruyne, who had minus a front wing in race 1, he had to stop to get repaired. So did Lucas Lichten. And then the 2 who didn't finish, Massimiliano Riboli for Valley Esports, and rounding off the grid, Ryan Elliott, who stopped on lap 1 after an accident. So that's the 27 runners and drivers for the final race of the 2020 Formula Challenge season. It's been a fantastic season, as we've said already tonight. Let's have one more fantastic race, please, everybody. Final cars lining up at the back of the grid. Kalbarczyk and Andre on the front row, Halsall and Voss on row 2, Flask and Koloshai. Expect some fireworks into turn 1 as we go racing for the final time. Jakub Kalbarczyk had a fantastic start, and Andre didn't have such a bad one either. Look at the GPVWC Academy car swing to the inside, and we've already got chaos in the midfield. It's happened. We were expecting it even more. There's an 8-6 car going around, and they're still crashing. So we'll try and pick the bones out of that one. At the moment, it's Kalbarczyk up to the top, ahead of Andre, Halsall, Voss, Flask, Kaloshai up to 5th, Grech 7th, Hoekstra 8th, Stevens 9, Hemmingson 10, Bell 11th, Mike Bell up into 11th, and missing all of the carnage. Thomas Harvey down to 12th, Riboli from the back of the grid up to 13th, August Land 14th, Fag running up the top 15. Just having a look at who was involved in the problems at the start. It was Dylan Platt, Wouter de Bruin, Van der Smissen was involved, I think Penny was involved, McGaugy definitely involved down in 23rd, Furlich still 19th, and I think Frelick must have been hampered as well, because Frelick's down in 18th position. Justin Meister as well, 17th. I think Meister was going round at one point. Lucas Lichten up to 16th then from the back, but Kalbarczyk leads as we complete lap 1. Kalbarczyk from Andre, Halsall, Voss and Flasky top 5. We're going to go side by side into turn 1, it looks like, with one of the HGP cars. It might have been Hoekstra having a look at Grech, but nothing going. So, Kalbarczyk, Andre, Halsall. I think actually Flask has got ahead of Voss. That would be the HCB that was side by side. Flask is ahead of Tom Voss for 4th position. Harvey already going past Mike Bell then, so no hold up there for Thomas Harvey. He'll set his sights on the top 10 ahead. So looking further down the order, Frelick still hasn't managed to get out of 18th position, so obviously caught up in that lap 1 turn 1 incident, but plenty of work to do then to try and get points from the end as Lichten goes round, and so does Frelick following him. Frelick over the curbs now in the middle of the track, collects it going, and look, it's just a chain reaction effect. So Frelick having a dismal start to the final race this season. After such a great season for him, one that he only came in partway through a race 1, and now we've got Santon looking up the inside. I think it was Ryan Elliott, forceful move into Big Tapato. That's put Frelick on the back foot again with, I believe it's Owen McGaugy looking at him. So Owen McGaugy down the field as well after a good race 1. So that carnage has really put the cat amongst the pigeons for a lot of these faster drivers, and now they're starting to see what elbows out racing in the mid-pack is like. Side by side through turn 1 is Kaloshai trying to get past Tom Voss, I think, and Kaloshai in the RBA, I think, has done that. So great side by side racing, even more contact between Elliott and Frelick, and they're going to push each other off the track. That's going to give McGaugy a good chance from the outside of turn 3 all the way down into turn 4 into Desquito de Largo. They're going to be side by side. They're still battling behind Frelick. How forceful is he going to be? How frustrated is he going to be? Plenty of racing room from both of them. To be fair, McGaugy goes wide. That's going to give Frelick the inside for the exit of turn 4. Still side by side up into turn 6, and Elliott's still got his nose in there. Expect a dive bomb into the right-hander here. He will go for it, and Frelick's just been hung out to dry. Now he's got the inside for the left-hander. McGaugy still has managed to get through, so great racing from McGaugy, and Frelick manages to keep the Santon behind for the time being. Frantic stuff as McGaugy goes wide. So a bit of a breather then for the moment until they get to turn 1 all over again, you would imagine, because Frelick's going to be all over the back of McGaugy with a bit of slipstream. Back up front as we get to the end of lap 3 is Kalbarczyk who leads, then Darius Andre. Dan Halsall's had a fantastically calm start as Flask goes round the outside, now down the inside, plenty of space. Really good driving from Don Halsall to hold on to 3rd there, because it looked for all the world that Flask had the corner down into turn 2. So great driving from Halsall in the Academy car, showing no signs of nose, and look at them fanning out towards the back. It's all aboard the Bell train, it's why we say it. Look at this. Bell, Hemmingson behind in the Neptune, and then side by side Riboli up into 9th, would you believe, from the back of the grid, side by side with Harvey trying to make his move. Kaloshai's lost out then, so Kaloshai's had an issue somewhere. He was 6th, he's now down into, and actually we've lost Tom Voss as well, so that probably something between Kaloshai and Voss, but that's caused this bottleneck. Harvey ahead of Riboli for P9, then Kaloshai is now 12th behind Meister, who makes his way through, absolute chaos in the midfield. August Lahn up to 13th fantastically as well from where he started. And Joseph Fagg as well in 14th. Furlich in 15th. Hoekstra's gone down as well. So I wonder what happened. That must have involved then. Hoekstra's lost a lot of time. Voss has lost a lot of time. Voss is down into 21st. Hoekstra's down in 17th. And obviously Kolosai is down to 13th now as August Lahn goes side by side with him. Down the main straight. Hemmingsen now looking to make his way past Mike Bell. Round the outside into turn 1. He'll have the corner for turn 2. And then squeeze it out through turn 3. Textbook move from Martin Hemmingsen. That's why he's champion. No danger at all. But now he's got to make sure that Bell doesn't pick up the slipstream and try and attack around the outside. And look at Thomas Harvey as well. Trying to look at this remove from Mike Bell. Be amazing if he pulls that off. Oh, Mike Bell take a bow. Fantastic from the Downforce Electrics racer to move back ahead of the world champion of Formula Challenge and into 7th place once more. Now Harvey's having to go at the Neptune. Brilliant stuff, and I don't think Hemmingsen was expecting that. I really don't. So it was a brilliant move through turn 1, but he compromised himself through turn 2 and 3, and it just gave Bell some fantastic driving. Round the outside at Skiddo de Lago. Superb from the Downforce man. Still Kalbarczyk then, half a second ahead of Andre, but those two have checked out. Don Halsall in 3rd, with Luca Flask still hounding him for that final podium position of this season. Hemmingsen's got a great drive behind Mike Bell now. Hemmingsen's got a fantastic drive out of Ian South, and there's not going to be an awful lot that Mike Bell can do. Hemmingsen goes right, then left, then right again. He's trying to pick away. Now he's going back to the left. Bell, to be fair, is just driving in a straight line. It's all down to where Hemmingsen wants to go. Is Harvey going to be able to follow him through? Hemmingsen to the inside this time. He's not going to fall for that same trick again. Goes through, and this time he should have it covered off. Hemmingsen into 7th. See what Harvey can do on Bell. Is Bell compromised? Harvey might have a look, he might not. Look, and there's Meister in 10th behind as well. So they're all clustered up as Kolosai goes wide. Kolosai goes wide. He's having an absolute nightmare at the moment. Have a Kolosai. Down to 14th. Down to 15th. And yeah, Furlich now as well. Furlich up into 13th. So yeah, good job from Furlich. Contact between Harvey and Meister in the mid part of the track. Meister's still got the inside into Big Head's Pato. Can he get it done? Harvey can carry the speed all the way around the outside. Now it's his corner through Magulo, but it'll compromise him into Jensau, and this is going to be a drag into turn 1 again. This is fantastic racing, and actually pretty fair as well. No torpedoes coming from 100 miles back, so really good to see. Kalbarczyk now only 3/10 ahead of Darius Andre up top. So Kalbarczyk from Andre, Halsall, Flask, Stevens, Grech, Hemmingsen, Bell, Harvey and Meister already onto lap 7. And we're already side by side, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in a row side by side. Furlich then, this is with Kolosai. So Furlich got ahead of Kolosai when Kolosai went wide on the previous lap. August Lahn in 11th ahead of Riboli. Harvey still ahead of Meister. And look at the back there as well. Plenty of fighting going on. It's Magalgi, it's Frelich who's managed to get back into 16th. So Frelich and Magalgi pulling themselves back forward, and Magalgi goes wide. That's going to give Hoekstra a great chance up the hill, but of course Magalgi's got the inside line for the fast right hand sweeper, and not an awful lot that Hoekstra can do there. Lichten up into 15th. Obviously he was having a great race in race 1 before he had to pit for damage repairs, so hopefully he can pick up some points where he didn't last time. Luca Flask has gone fastest in Sector 1 with a 19.1, but then he's losing time behind Don Halsall through a middle sector. It means nothing. Hemmingsen fastest man on track at the moment though. 117.2 last time round. He's trying to close back up to Terence Grech. He had a big gap after fighting with Mike Bell. Hemmingsen making his way forward. Here is Bell with Harvey all over the back of him again. Bell defends the inside. Harvey going to have to go around the outside, carry the speed on the brakes. Bell brakes so late. Fantastic defence from Mike Bell. Now he's got to make sure he doesn't compromise his run down into turn 4. Nice and neat through turn 2 and 2 and 3. Harvey, good drive though from the outside line. Bell goes defensive early, makes his move early, and then Harvey's going to go to the outside of turn 4. This is what Bell did to Hemmingsen. Bit of contact. Harvey hangs it around the outside and manages to keep it straight. And look at Meister as well. Don't try 3 wide, lads. Please don't. Yeah, they don't. They kept it sensible. Harvey still on the inside of Bell, managing to carry so much speed on his line, and Harvey eventually manages to make a move. Goes deep. That's going to give Bell another chance to perform the switcheroo. Bit of contact there between the two, and this is absolute carnage. Look at Kolosai and Furlich side by side in the background, trying to get past Massimiliano Riboli, who obviously is stuck in this train behind Mike Bell. Hemmingson still only 3 seconds off Grek. Grek actually isn't that far off Luca Flask, and Flask has actually lost out. Flask has lost out to Stevens. So Stevens is, and there goes Riboli. Riboli into the wall, out of Jensau. You could see that coming. There's so many cars fighting for the same bit of track, and Riboli loses it. Terrible luck for Massimiliano Riboli after a fantastic start to the race. On to lap 9. Bell then trying to keep it around the outside, bit of a slide. So Harvey kept his position, and now Meister's through. So those are the two solid moves. But that group has fanned out since Riboli's spin. Look at the difference now. So Bell's got a bit of a gap now. He can breathe a little bit. Magaugi's next. 4th, Underdog in 11th. Then it's Furlich. Hoekstra up into 13th. August Land 14th. Ryan Elliott 15th. Kolosai down to 16th. Voss is now 17th. Then you've got Fag. So don't tell me Frelick was involved again. Frelick's involved again. Frelick's having an absolute stinker. Frelick's down to 21st. And what seems so simple in race 1 has turned into a nightmare in race 2. Luckily, nothing championship, no championship implications for him, but he would have wanted to finish on a bit more of a high than that. Elliott goes defensive then on August Land. Absolutely frantic stuff. We're only halfway through this race as Kalbarczyk comes up to finish lap 9 of 18. So expect more action into turn 1. It's Kalbarczyk at the moment, 6/10 ahead of Andre. Then a 4-second gap down to Doan Halsall in the Academy car, who's then got a 2-second gap to Tom Stevens, who made his way past Luca Flask. And Terence Grek is now starting to see his gap evaporate to Martin Hemmingson, who did a 1:16 2 laps ago. Absolutely flying. He's 6/10 faster than anyone. 2 laps ago, he's still 3/10 faster than Grek ahead of him on the previous lap. Now we've got chaos into turn 1. Elliott defending hard from August Land. Kolosai involved again. And here we go. Kolosai involved again. Voss involved. And both without wings. A massive crash down the back straightaway. And that will be the end of both of their races, I'm pretty sure. Terrible way to end the season for Tom Voss. And, Kolosai been involved in a few incidents already this evening. Not saying that it's his fault at all. But, it just seems to be a bit of an incident magnet tonight in that second RBA. So that promotes a few people back up. Frelick back up into 18th. Fag into 17th. Lichten into 16th. And the two Madness right on the cusp of the double points finish the year. Here's Andre then. So Andre is back on the back of Kalbarczyk, and he's got DRS to help him, but can't get anywhere near at the moment. Lap 11 we're on of lap 18. And these two starting to see Halsall close in a little bit, and Halsall is starting to see his gap evaporate back to Tom Stevens in 4th. Flask still 5th. Nice half a second gap to Grek at the moment. And then Hemmingson is still going to try and hunt them down with 8 laps to go. Harvey in 8th, Meister 9th. Meister not letting Harvey get away. Bell in 10th. And then Magaugi, Hoekstra, Furlich, August Land and Elliott, who they've just been involved in everything at the moment. They seem to be side by side on every lap, and Hoekstra seems to be going like a yo-yo. He was in the top 10, and he was down in sort of 19th, 20th, and now he's back up to 12th. So anything can happen, as it always does in Formula Challenge, and we're seeing that again in the season finale. Andre trying to follow Kalbarczyk, who goes slightly wide out of Jensau. See if that affects Kalbarczyk's run at all. There's Andre actually lost a little bit of time through the middle sector, but still only about 4/10 back. And we saw that the front 5 in race 1 closed up towards the end as tyres started to become a factor. So we'll see now whether that will be the same this time, as Grek, look, is all over the back of Luca Flask now. So Terence Grek, fantastic final round of the season in the Friesland Racing Team car. So if he can get past Luca Flask for top 5, really put a really good positive spin on what's been a tough season for the team, for the whole team. Not close enough this lap into turn 4, but as he goes a little bit wide as well, he's really pushing hard. But all over the back of Luca Flask all of a sudden. And actually, look, top 3 is not far away for these guys if you can get through. Hemmingsen's starting to close in on these two as well. Look, you can see the yellow and green Neptune one-off car starting to close in on these two. So Flask is starting to hold Greg up, and that is allowing Hemmingsen to close in, as to Harvey and Meister, although they're a further 4 seconds back. Just having a look, Meister personal best, Stevens personal best. Some of the faster guys now going into the 1:16s for the first time now that they haven't got any drama to contend with. Hemmingsen a whole 10th faster in sector 1 without any DRS, remember, and then 6/10 faster, 6/10 faster in the middle sector, Martin Hemmingsen. That's why he's closed up so far. Greg this time has got a massive opportunity, you feel, to get Luca Flask for a top 5 place. Flask doesn't really defend too hard, and then Greg goes down the inside. Flask holds it on the inside. Can he get any sort of drive? No, and look at Hemmingsen. He's going to mug them both, surely. Hemmingsen with a fantastic bit of driving. There he goes past Flask. And look up ahead as well. Side by side, Stevens and Halsall into turn 4. Where do you look? Where do you look? Halsall holds on. Hemmingsen takes 5th position. And Flask as well stays ahead of Greg somehow. So Greg got mugged even though he made the move. Halsall still in 3rd somehow, with Stevens behind him, and there's a Rookie Monsters car in there as well. The Rookie Monsters car, who is obviously a lap down, I think, is Justin van der Smissen. So I don't know whether that caused any of that battle there, but yeah, Halsall managing to hold off Stevens, only Gesto. So now Hemmingsen into the top 5 fantastically. Look at that, side by side into Yunsao. You don't see that very often. And they're fighting so hard that actually Van der Smissen's able to keep up with them, even though he's a lap down. So Stevens couldn't make the move on Halsall. He'll have another chance here. DRS open, slipstream. Halsall goes defending to the inside. 5 laps to go of the Formula Challenge season. This time Stevens goes around the outside, a bit of a slide. It'll give Halsall another chance on the outside of turn 2. Fantastic driving from Darren Halsall to stay in 3rd, but they'll just give Stevens another opportunity down into turn 4, and look who's coming ever closer. Martin Hemmingsen, surely he can't get a podium from where he was. Stevens hanging it out on the outside. If he can stay there, he's going to have the inside up into the next corner. He couldn't. Now he's gone to the outside. He's just trying to put Halsall offline so that he can cut back and do something. But look at Hemmingsen. Look how quickly that gap has closed up. Looking further down as well, Bell's dropped down to P12. It's now McGaugy in P10, Hoyster P11, and Bell in P12. Furlick still in 13th. August Lane ahead of Elliott for 14th. De Bruyne, Valette De Bruyne is in 16th for Rookie Monsters, so he's on the cusp of points to finish off what's been a difficult year for that team as well. And then Hutton Penny actually right on the back of the pack, so really good performance for those two. Down in 17th and 18th. Plenty of competition. Onto that 15th. Onto that 15 even goes Jakub Kalbarczyk then. Ahead of Darius Andre, who still can't make the move. So Kalbarczyk's got plenty of speed. Here we go. I think Kalbarczyk must have made an error through turn 1 and turn 2, because Kalbarczyk had plenty of gap down into the first corner, but now Andre takes the lead. So no sooner, as I said, that Kalbarczyk had this sorted, Kalbarczyk makes an error then, and Darius Andre takes the lead for Giro Grand Prix. So I wonder what happened. The gap was 4/10 going over the line, so Kalbarczyk must have gone too deep into turn 1. Absolutely must have, because they were side by side through turn 3 as well. So disappointing for Jakub Kalbarczyk, who's controlled this race so far, but on lap 15, with just 4 laps left, he's surrendered the lead to Darius Andre in the Giro Grand Prix. And again, Giro Grand Prix have had already had a victory this season, since coming in halfway through the season as a replacement outfit, and they've been really impressive, to be fair. Darius Andre looking to finish the season off in the best possible way with a win in the reverse grid race 2. Halsall still ahead, by the way. Halsall still ahead of Stevens. The Rookie Monsters car's now out of the way of these guys. So it's Halsall, Stevens, Hemmingsen as those 3 cars, and Stevens will go to the outside again. Can Halsall hold them off once more? He can. Both go very deep, and this is how Hemmingsen got through into P5 in the first place, was 2 people fighting in front of him. Stevens is all over the back of Halsall this time. Surely Halsall can't hold on to it any longer, because Stevens has got so much more pace in him, but Stevens cannot get around the outside. Can he? Oh, contact, no! Halsall had such a fantastic race, and that's not what we wanted to see, and good driving to wait for a gap as well by Dan Halsall, but that's a front wing gone as well. That is any chance of points for Dan Halsall out the window. Terrible luck. Terrible luck. It happens when you're racing that close to that speed, but just you feel he didn't deserve that after such a fantastic first 15 laps of this race with some fantastic defending. So he's dropping out of the order at the moment with no front wing. It means that Hemmingson has now got basically a free run with DRS going for P3. Tom Stevens, can he hold him off? Kalbarchik's lost plenty of time to Andre, so it looks like as if Kalbarchik isn't going to be able to do too much more. So maybe that might be a tyre wear issue for Kalbarchik if he's starting to lose a bit more time as well. Hemmingson couldn't get through into turn 1. 2 laps to go then in the season. Andre leading from Kalbarchik, Stevens, Hemmingson, Luca Flask still 5th ahead of Terence Grech, but Grech is hunting for that top 5. There's Thomas Harvey 7th, Justin Meister 8th, Owen McGaugy 9th, and Volker Hoekstra in 10th. Mike Bell still in 11th. August Lahn up to 12th. That's superb for Paul August Lahn. And then Furlich 13, Elliott 14, Wouter de Bruyn for Rookie Monsters 15. Here's Bell then side by side with August Lahn. August Lahn having a superb race for Madness. Couldn't quite get through. Great defence again from Bell. He's been fantastic all race with his defending, and you saw where he started. So he was up in the top 10 at one point. He was way up in the top 10 as well. So fantastic race so far for Bell. Can he hold on for 2 more laps as Furlich looks to try and put pressure on Paul August Lahn? Paul August Lahn started the season with Neptune, of course, so this could be a little bit personal as Andre starts the final lap of the season, and Kalbarchik actually only 2/10 behind now. Stevens and Hemmingson same gap for 3rd and 4th. Can Kalbarchik do anything into turn 4? This will pretty much be his last chance unless he can get monumental drive out the final corner. Hemmingson's through on Stevens, but Stevens is going to have another go back into turn 4. We've seen that Stevens can do this move round the outside. Can he do it to Hemmingson, the champion? No, Hemmingson pushes him wide. Great driving from Ian Hemmingson. It was his corner, he knew exactly where to put it, but Stevens has still got plenty of driving. He's still plenty of fight as well. As Flask has gone down to 6th. Grech has got past Luca Flask for 5th position. Meanwhile, Kalbarchik still hounding Andre, but he can't do anything about it. Andre's got enough of a gap, but look how close it is. He's not close enough to have a dive into Yun Xiao, so now it's just going to be the drag up to the line, and I think Andre's going to have just about enough. He was nice and neat through the final corner. So for the final time, the checkered flag will fly with Darius Andre taking the victory. Darius Andre, the final winner in 2020 in GPVWC Formula Challenge for Geo Grand Prix. Fantastic race for him and Jakub Kalbarchik in 2nd. Hemmingson 3rd, champion Hemmingson in 3rd. Jess Pippin Stevens, wow, what a race. Fantastic. Terence Grech gets just reward for his outstanding performance tonight in 5th. Harvey managed to nick 6th off Flask. Meister in 7th. Meister in 8th. Hoekstra in 9th ahead of McGaugy. So Hoekstra got ahead of McGaugy, and then look at this mass of cars coming across the line. Bell 11th, fantastic result for him. So too August Lahn in 12th. Furlich managed to recover from his race 1 woes to 13th. Ryan Elliott up to 14th, having started last and only doing 1 lap in race 1. De Bruyn gets a point for Team Rookie Monsters. And then you're looking down the rest of the finishers. Dan Hutt, Summer Frelick 17th, disappointing end to season for him. The 2nd in the championship will do just nicely. Caitlin Penny 18th and with the pack, so real step forward for Caitlin. Joseph Fang 19th, Lucas Lichten 20th. Halsall managing to come through on the lead lap as everyone does their end of season donuts. Fantastic to see. Halsall will be disappointed, but fantastic race, and hope to see more of him in the future in P21. Van Smissen 22nd, Dylan Platt 23rd, and then Raboli, Kalosh, Voss and Closer failing to finish the race through incident. That was the Brazilian round of Formula Challenge. That was the final race of the championship, and what a race it was. Absolutely fantastic. Non-stop action from start to finish. And plenty of drama as well, plenty of incident involving some of the big boys in the championship. So thoroughly entertaining. Martin Hemmingsen, I mean, you run out of superlatives for him. He's been absolutely fantastic, and that drive to third was just another feather in his cap. I'm sure we will see him further up the career ladder in 2021, as I think we will see a lot of the drivers out of Formula Challenge from this season, because the standard's been so high. As you saw today, the racing was for the most part hard, fair, and just generally exciting. So really, 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 really fantastic way to round out the season, and hopefully in the next few seconds, whilst obviously after everyone's had the little debrief and they've had the little celebrations if you've won a race, hopefully we can get some people in for an interview. Give me someone to talk to, because I've been lonely. Fantastic race to finish with. I'm sure Darius Andre will be absolutely thrilled, as to will the whole of Geo Grand Prix. Kalbarczyk, fantastic. Nevertheless, whether he surrendered the league or not, the lead. He surrendered the lead to Andre. We got some people waiting for a interview, so I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll bring one in. We'll bring Rodrigo in, Rodrigo Carvalho, who is the team boss of Neptune Racing. Rodrigo, how are you doing? How do you find that great podium for Martin Hemmingsen in the final race of the championship? Obviously, your home race as well.
Hello, Ewan. I'm very proud to be here, to be honest. It was very good to see Martin driving for the team in this last round in the year, last race for us after a long season, Especially after how was the season overall. A lot of things happened, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. Our season was nothing perfect all the time, but in the end we was able to make what we want. That was to win the champion. I'm very proud to be now and talk about that. Also, especially for Martin, he's a very good boy and have a bright future in sim racing. I think we see the races, we see what he can do. He's pretty fast. He's pretty talented. Also, I'm very happy for Marco. He finishing the race too on the points. Marco is a very good boy. He learned a lot with us, and I talked to him today. Just have fun, It's the final race. We already win the championship, so don't put pressure on yourself. Just try to have fun and make the race in whatever the way you want, and he make a brilliant final race in the season. And I'll have a lot of things to talk, but if you want some questions before, you can talk.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, actually. Obviously, champions this season, double champions. Obviously, you must be thinking about what you're doing next year already.
So next season probably you make Super Cup. If GPVWC do not take off the Super Cup, we do a Super Cup. We have today was also the final race for Martin and Marco on the team. Martin will take his path and pick a other team in the career ladder for next year, and I'm very proud to be part of Martin's journey in sim racing. I hope he have a brilliant future in the next things he raced in the league. Same for Marco. He wants to continue in Formula Challenge. He wants to learn more, and so I think probably something we'll see that he have a good talent. He's a guy that work a lot as a team. So if a team wants a guy like that, I think Marco will be a very, very good pick. But I just can thank just for Martin and Marco. Neptune this season used a lot of drivers, especially because we was needed in some races, some emergency drivers, and also we tried to find a guy to race all season. So I need to thank all the guys that raced with us. This season raced Tom Parker, raced Paul August Lenne, Martin and Marco, that raced in those final rounds in the season also. Also Guilherme Tomiazzi, that raced 2 rounds with us. Andonovski, that raced a lot of rounds in the middle of the season. Uh, and also I need to thank my partner in Neptune, that is Higo. Higo is a very good guy. I'm proud to work with him in Neptune, and we hope that next season we continue. I think it will be more difficult, but I hope that we can learn a lot, and then in maybe first season will be difficult for us, but after 2 3 seasons we can make the things happen, you know. And I can talk some Portuguese words here, or is forbidden.
Hey, yeah, well, honestly, Rodrigo, I could talk to you all night because it's such a fascinating season you've had, and congratulations on the 2 championships. But I want to bring some other people in. We got Simon Frelick, who obviously was race 1 winner. Hi, Simon, how you doing? Congratulations on your race 1 win. Obviously, a bit more difficult in race 2. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a pretty mixed bag with race 1 and race 2. Qualifying was actually like one of the less stressful ones. I had a big gap and I didn't have to worry about people behind. Then in race 1, I pulled off a 1 second gap, and I thought that's how it's gonna be. But then Tom Stevens and the pack caught up to me, and the last laps were pretty intense because I was struggling with the tires. But in the end, I got the win, with which I was happy with. Then in race 2, it was just a disaster for me. I got caught up in the turn 1 incidents on the first lap. Then I had a spin in turn 6 and 7. Uh, and then when I was trying to pass Lucas Lichten, I punted him by accident because I was braking later than he was when I was behind him, and unfortunately I just went into him. And then yeah, then there was another spin because someone hit me from behind. I don't remember who exactly, but yeah, the race 2 was uh, pretty disappointing.
Okay, but let's look at the positive. So you didn't start the season in the championship. You came in. You've won one of the final races of the season. You've also finished second in the championship, if my maths is right. So, where does that leave you? Really, what can you take from that? What can you do for next season?
Well, probably for next season, I was planning to do a Super Cup, but we'll just have to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Simon. And the last person I want to talk to before you bring him in, here we go, Thomas Harvey, who is effective third in the standings. Thomas, you had a fantastic round, really. You're having a look at the drama going on around you, managing to get 2 top 10s.
Yes. What a finale. Very. I was quite happy with most. I mean, I would have liked to. I feel like if I found a way to get around time, I felt I had the pace to have a go at Freilich, but want to be. I think maybe I could have tried something. But hey, it's what it is. I'm still happy with P3. Kept
Yeah.
it clean, which was important. And then race 2, where that went out the window, and a lot of carnage. I don't know how I wasn't sideways or backwards on point. Somehow kept it straight the whole race, avoiding a few incidents. But that made for some interesting scenarios. Had some good racing, like some Martin, Justin, and Mike and stuff. So it was good fun. So yeah, I'm happy overall with the.
And you mentioned about keeping it clean. It's what you've pretty much done all season long. I mean, you're fourth in the standings. You take STV out, you're third, and really that consistency's been the key for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I was a bit newbie at the start of the season. I felt like I had some pace there, but I just bottle it in terms of pace wise. in quality and stuff. So my season really only took off till about halfway through when I got some good results. But yeah, it's been a learning curve, I'd say, over the season. But I've had fun, and I feel like I've got much more confidence now on the game, which is obviously good. So yeah, can't wait for next season, really.
No, neither can we, Thomas. Neither can we. Thank you to everybody for getting involved. Thank you, obviously, to the drivers who make this happen. Thank you to Sandeep on cameras tonight. Thank you to Gerrit, who does everything behind the scenes, and everyone else who's involved in getting this sorted. That was the final round of GPVWC Formula Challenge for this season. We've still got Super Cup, Super League Lights, and the big one, Super League, next week. Do tune in. But for now, from the GPVWC, it's good night.